What I thought we'd do is actually go through a project that you all might have seen. I'll play this real quick, just a clip of it, a little bit with sound at first, then later we'll show the project. But this is a fun like dinosaur film made by some of our teammates. And all the animation and motion you see is from the LTX project, and I'll show basically how that was built from the ground up, and we'll try to recreate it and build it together so you can see like I said, the craftsmanship that comes from you might not initially get the right motion you want. You might want to adjust things. Prompting is always a bit hit or miss, and so we'll build something together. But to start, here's an example project built by some of the teammates at LTX Studio.
Planet Earth, a wonderful place to call home, a land of endless beauty and opportunity. Thanks to the Reptilian Confederacy and the spirit of discovery, the impossible becomes possible. Progress leads the way. With a vision and innovation, we've built a society where comfort, convenience, and prosperity are within everyone's reach. The future is brighter than ever. To space, to stars, to worlds unimagined. The horizon calls, and the path forward is ours to take. Earth, a world of hope, a place of promise, a bright future written in the stars themselves.
To call it a few things. So you'll see from the project, all the animations were built in LTX Studio. I believe some of the sound was pulled in from another platform, but I'll show you how to create it in LTX Studio. But that's another powerful thing is you can import images, you can import audio, etc. And then, so yeah, the audio was pulled off out of platform, but we'll recreate it in platform together. So let me again share my screen and I'll share that project. And I'll share a project. I copied the one, in our behind the scenes dev environment to a production environment that could be used by anyone. And so it's not 100% because I copied all the scenes and settings, but prompts always have a little bit of difference between, when you reprompt it or get a new seed image, etc. But you'll see what that existing project looks like. So let me share this. So here you can see the overall view of the project. It starts out with that scene of Earth. We go through kind of the science and industry scenes with the dinos here. You can see it's remarkably similar, even though I just copied the prompts and settings, not the exact project one-to-one. We have the parade scenes, and I didn't do much editing here. I just kind of, most scenes are just from the first take, so I didn't do much, tweaking here. So we got the scenes going to the dino military, and at the end, the kind of meteor coming in. And I played around with a few different meteor shots, so I did change these a bit because I wanted to play around with that. I didn't finish everything, but for example, you can have a simple marching sound here. Oh, Navo, did I not share sound that time?
I actually heard it.
Okay, cool. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember if I checked it that time. And then we didn't use any the style settings here exactly, but I generated most of the work through the prompts that I copied over, and then the
I
voiceover.
think
Yeah, go ahead.
if I
Sorry.
can add the tab that you have on the above, like the tabs over there for the settings, style, cast, soundtrack, and voiceover, what we just showed is for the entire project. But then you can also do these for any specific scene, which we'll go through also in a bit. But this is like the entire project setting. So the tabs you have above, they use for that.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and so we'll just orient on this project a little bit and then create one from scratch about like how to initialize a project like this a few different ways. So I just want to show the final project before we start making it together. And as I said, the sound in the voiceover is a little different. I was using a different narration voice. I think I was using this guy one.
The heart has its reasons which reason knows not of.
So there's different options here, of course. And then the soundtrack, you can kind of type in anything. So I think I just typed in like marching band. I can't remember exactly, but you'll get a bunch of different options that will pull in from different things. And I just picked together we move. So basically, this is kind of what the final result looked like. And then I'm going to create a new one, invite Navo as a collaborator, and we'll show off some of the collaboration features as we build it together. So let me start by two ways of initiating it that I won't actually use, and then we'll just start from scratch, like scene by scene, just to slow it down a bit. But if you go to the initial page here, you can start from scratch, or you can start with a concept. And I'll show a few things. First off, in the start from when you're initializing the project with AI, you can drop in a script, you can type in something, and it'll help you. Since I have a specific vision here, I might drop in a script. A few notes here though, like we do use AI to help you write things out. So if I were writing something like, I want a retro, nostalgic, 1950s era newsreel feel to a short clip about an old dino. Oop. And at the end, a meteor comes. So I'm not doing it justice because I'm trying to do it quickly, but you can type something and it will help you flesh it out. So we'll initialize it this way before trying a different way. So that's one way. And I won't do this, but as an example, you could take something like I've taken a short story before that was like a page and a half, and I dropped it into ChatGPT and I said, please turn this into a script. So I'll do a quick example here where I could say like, can you please make a screenplay about this? And I'll say like break it into scenes and shots for me. And I'll just so I'm not spending too much time tweaking this, but for example, here we've got this screenplay here. End of an era, I actually really like that. You might have noticed it popped out into the canvas mode by automatically for ChatGPT. So it's kind of like the Google Docs like pairing where I can ask it something and it'll edit it. So if you need a bit more, our Create with AI feature has some pretty powerful things, and I've used them for different things. So when I'm trying to scaffold something quickly, I often use the Create with AI. And if you want a specific vision, you can do that here. But one thing a lot of people don't know is when you're creating a project with AI here, all of it is also editable. So I'll go through this and you can see here, we've got my Dino Days of Yore, also great. Oh, The Last Roar, come on, how can you beat that title? That's great. Generate more, you can generate more stories here and you'll keep them. So we've got, these two initial ones, I've got a third one. And so you can both tweak it here. So it made me a plot synopsis here. And then when you go to next, you'll be able to edit the actual scenes and things. So I think a lot of what people might use ChatGPT for, we built in a native interface into our product here, complete with characters, cast, and settings. But sometimes I've seen people when you want to get something, whether it's like the words of a shot, etc., they jump between tools to perfect that vision. So I'll
Now,
initialize it first, and then we'll start with from scratch.
I'd like to
Good.
jump in because we had a question from Alicia about how to keep consistency with characters across shots. This is the beginning, like this is the engine, the cast that you see here, the cast screen. You can always go back to it because you saw when we mentioned that you have the settings for the entire project, you have like the cast tab. So when you use the cast, this is how you formulate the characters that are within the cast, and then you can summon them into different frames and shots throughout the project, and we'll show you how you have like a special mention key that you use, and then you just summon them into the shot and you can keep consistency with that. So this is the system that we use. So thank you for the question, Alicia.
Yeah. So I'm not spending too much time on the styling of this because I'm gonna disregard it to start from scratch. So you can spend more time at the beginning on crafting the style, the scenes and shots, and the characters, and then it'll scaffold out your project for you like this. But I wanted to show different ways of initiating this time, so I'm not spending that much time tweaking this.
I think
But
you also went into that on the previous tips and tricks that we
yes.
had. So if you guys want, you can always catch up on the previous tips and tricks sessions that we had. It's on our YouTube. Just look up LTX Studio. It's over there.
But you can see it got a lot of what I wanted. I didn't spend that much time at all, but it got what I wanted. These classic diner scenes, the kind of dinosaur society. So, and it got the meteor at the end. So it gets a lot of what you want. And as Nevo said, if you want to tag that character, I can tag Rex Tyrannosaurus or Dottie Diplodocus. Diplodocus. I don't even know what that is. I'm sure it's a dinosaur name. I don't know. But
Docus.
yeah. Let's tag Rex. So Rex Tyrannosaurus, then that character will be in the scene. I didn't have Rex doing anything, so he'll just probably be somewhere random in the scene. But that's how you summon the characters in, as Nevo said, and then your cast and crew is up here. So that's Rex, and that's Dottie. So the going through this, we went over this in a different way to me, these I couldn't tell apart the characters. I'd have to add distinctive clothing and stuff. But there's Rex in the shot, and then here's we got Dottie right there. So Rex and Dottie. So that's one way. You can also, as I said, drop in a script. So I could copy and paste this. You know, I could take these all this, and then I could copy and paste a script in here. So that's one way as well. Again, note the extreme length we allow for the character limit. I'm not even close to it. And so I think a normal plot synopsis you'd be able to do quite handily. And then once I didn't actually proofread that, but I'm just showing the mechanics of it. So that will also then spit me out into the settings and like the cast, the feel, etc. So here I do the same thing, like retro, nostalgic, 1950s, film grain. So I put a few things there. And so again, this is how you can create that project via the script initialization part. But I want to build things from scratch. We haven't covered that yet in a project. And so I'm just going to cancel this out and then start from scratch. Or I'll generate it so you can see it, and then we'll dip into the new start from scratch mode that we haven't yet covered on a webinar. And then also I'm going to invite Nouveau. So I don't think a lot of people here have seen the collaboration tools live, and it's kind of fun. It's a real like Google Docs feel. And so we'll demonstrate a little bit of that to show how it kind of manages people editing at once, different time changes in a script. So we'll start with this, start from scratch. I'll invite Nouveau, and then we'll start building it together. Maybe just instead of waiting for this to build that, I'm just going to go into start from scratch so we can use everyone's time the best. So I'm going to cancel this out and then go into this. So start from scratch. I think the last four, I'll type that. And then I don't really need characters, and I could drag my inspiration here, but I really just want to start from the get-go. And so I'm going to do that same thing, like retro 1950s, film grain, nostalgic, and then create this project. So I've really put nothing in here. We've got a blank canvas now. I'm gonna just create one quick scene. Like we'll tweak it later, but I'll just start with planet Earth, and then we'll add some descriptors soon. But I'm gonna share this project here. I got my Zoom window in the way. I'm gonna share this with Nouveau. Is it just Nouveau Electrics? Actually, I copied and pasted it from before, but
No, it's N Himmelhoch.
oh, okay, gotcha. I got it. So let's see. We got him as an editor now. Cool. So that's invited, and then yeah, Nouveau, feel free to pop in. So as you can see, starting with my planet.
Just from my end, I'll share that I just got like an email from LTX
Oh yeah,
Studio,
here.
and
I'll stop here, and then you can share your screen so you can see what it looks like. That's a good idea.
oh, hold on. So I need to
Or
pop back to my
yeah.
email. And okay, I'll share my screen now. I'll just show you that from my end, it looks like that. So I got invited by Corbett to collaborate on this project. Then when I open it, it loads up the entire project. And I can see everything that's already been generated. If he's generated a video, then I can see the video and I don't need to regenerate it. And I can also edit, add shots, add prompts, whatever I want, and we can cross collaborate. So you can see Corbett is now working on it because I can see that he's typing and the frame is being imagined. And then once he stops or he generates it, I'll be also able to see the video running. So that's from my side, but now both of us can see the same thing, I guess.
Yeah,
So I'll just
pretty
keep the
fun.
stage again.
Honestly, you can build things out surprisingly quickly that way. And so I just want to show a few things to basically going back to the project so I can compare them. So here we have, I'll copy this prompt so you can see like the evolution of it. But you know, we've started just with the planet Earth, but it's not quite got the retro feel that I want. So I might say like, let's see, like it's oops, Earth is slightly textured with a white hue around the rim. et cetera. So you can I basically often will be typing something, see what I'm getting, expanding it out. And you can see how far the prompt came, because what we ended up with is this: the Earth seen in a retro 1950s style film. The planet is rendered in a slightly textured sculptural appearance. Featuring exaggerated landmass contours and shading, giving it a dramatic stylized look, etc. We got there pretty quickly just with a few prompts, but I want to show a few other things in terms of like how to get the motion you want. So if I test the motion out for these, let me just start by generating an initial one. That's honestly, I feel like a lot of times I can get where I want with a seed image, and I think users will talk about the challenge of like getting the right motion you want. So I'll show a few tricks, tips and tricks, both with this kind of scene motion with an object, and then later with these animated dinosaurs or people where it can be trickier. But one final thing is like, again, you can use other tools. Like if I was asking it, you know, uh, let's just do, I want, uh, I want an AI video of planet Earth that reminds me of an old 1950s news reel, in film grain. What prompt should, oops. So there's lots of ways to get different, you can Google different fun things to prompt with. You can ask AI tools, etc. So here you can see it's very similar. The prompt we get with, these aren't very difficult to, you don't have to know like the secret words. You can Google things, you can ask other AI tools. And I want to call out, we have them built in a lot in the platform too. So if I am creating a character, and if I type in like Rex, and I can say Goofy dinosaur, um, uh, dinosaur with a lab coat. I don't know. So you can be creating a character, and if you notice, one thing you can do is I can make this character, but we also let you enhance it too. So you notice here like how it added a lot of the things for me in here, like the main outfit, etc. And so if I wanted something different, I can just type a simple phrase, and we'll help you flesh it out with these same AI tools. So you don't have to worry about like the you don't have to nail it exactly. I can just say like, no, I want him wearing just jeans and a hat, and I can click enhance. If you don't want the enhance, you can just click apply, and you can just create it without the enhancements. So the point here being, when you're trying to get the right prompt, you can use tools built into LTX. You can bring in, you can Google what fun things you could prompt it to get different results. And as always, I think a lot of people here, we've talked about style transfer a lot. That's another way. So you can use the style transfer per shot or per scene to get the images you want, but you just mostly use prompting today. So when we look at the initial motion, that's pretty good. I wanted the Earth rotating in that direction from west to east. Apparently that's how it rotates. Who knew? And then so I like this, but maybe for example you want to zoom in. And so other examples might be, in the motion editor here, it's very frequent you wouldn't get what you want exactly in the beginning. And so you can use these tools to get that. I could say things in the motion prompt like, zooming in on planet Earth, Earth as the, I'll say zooming in on Earth as the planet slowly spins. So you can type in motion prompts and generate motion previews. This is my number one way to get what I want from this, because, and by the way, these render in the background, so I can go to the storyboard and let them render. But if I'm not getting what I want from that first video, I usually go into the motion editor, I type in something, I use one of these tools, and then I quickly generate many previews. So for example, I don't like the off-kilter rotating of that. Maybe I want new ones, so I can generate, a new batch really quickly. So that's one way. And, we're just generating the previews here. Other ways you can do it is you can use these controls more specifically. So for example, camera control, start frame, end frame. If I want that zoom in feel, I can use this to zoom in. You can use presets here, or you can use your mouse. Like I can just zoom in with my mouse like this, but I'll use a preset here, zoom in. That's too far actually. There. And so if I hit apply, this one takes a little longer. It's like computationally more expensive, but that's a way you can control some of the motion there. And then I think we'll show this in a better scene later, but keyframe control, again, you can take something in and out. So, I could put, a comment here and say like, you know, I'm generating something into it or remove something out of it. So I could add something in, but I don't want that yet. That's in the end of my project, so we'll get to that later. But this is another way you can control the motion from adding something in, removing something. That's not quite a comment, so I will regenerate. But this way, again, it's you have all these tools, and so I usually make a project, and I'll say Meteor. Um, and usually what I do is I make a project, I check out the initial motion, and then I just go in and fix the ones that are most obviously wrong. And often, sometimes what I do in these big projects is I generate the entire thing. It's just computationally expensive, but if you're on a business tier or one of the pro tiers, you can generate all the assets here and then do a quick preview on to see like where you should focus your time. Because a lot of them come out great in the beginning, and that way you can see, okay, here's the scenes I need to work on fixing. All right, so let me exit out of this. Go back to my storyboard. I'm gonna delete this one. Or let's just see what this motion started as. Too bright. I'm gonna go to kind of like this one actually. That's cool. Let's do this. All right, so we've got this. We're kind of zooming in on our dinosaurs. I like that motion. And then so we're starting with kind of this establishing shot, and then we're zooming in. And then you don't have to, but I'm gonna name this scene Earth, and you can add a description. I think this gives us a valuable real estate to not only like organize your project, but over time influence it. But for now, this is more for just me organizing my thoughts and projects. And so I'll go to the next scene.
If I can add, just because you had a question that might relate about how to keep consistent, Adrita asked how to get a consistent background room across the scene. So you see over here, the scene, you have the location and style that you can edit. That gets you consistency throughout the scene. So if you'd say Paris, for instance, then all of the streets will look like Paris. And then for a very specific like shot that you are trying to generate, I would try, this is something we're still tackling, we're improving on, to get like the exact same room across all scene. But I have a small trick. I like to duplicate the shot that I used where I lock the scenario and the room and everything is like my vision is. And then it keeps the seed. So the seed remains, but then you can change a bit the prompt. So the
Yeah.
seed remains for the image that you generated for the shot, the previous shot, but then the prompt will adjust some small minor things about it. So the overall look will be kind of the same. So this is a small trick that I like to use if
Yeah,
you're not
you can
getting the exact thing.
exactly. And you know, another example here is we talked about this, but like you could, for example, go down to the you know, keyframe control or the camera motion, and you could just say like, okay, we're facing it kind of in this angle in the first one, but I want to rotate it, and so I want to, you know, rotate it over. So you can get different views on the same scene that way. That's one way, and another way you can add objects in. So sorry, my zoom thing's in the way. I could add objects in. So if I'm going here, I could, for example, add something like generative fill and just say, you know, here, I'll say like,
You
so
can
you can add,
basically,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Go ahead, Devo, sorry.
You can basically duplicate the scene and then add or remove or move a bit or alter the things that you do. So I would just duplicate it and start playing around with the different features to make it look like what you wanted.
Another, yeah, and another trick too is if you use something that's a bit more recognizable, like if we're using the Eiffel Tower, um,
Yeah.
uh, then you can also do things like I could say that it'll keep a recognizable scene there. So if we make the scene, like I'll delete these because it's getting away from our Dino prompt. But if we use this like, oops, how do you, 1 second. Eiffel Tower. So that's one way too, like whether you know you could name a specific scene, like you could name a not like Starbucks, you don't have the rights to Starbucks if you know, for example, but like just make your own coffee shop and you can describe it. But we're making this easier going into the new year. We're making I can say two kids playing soccer under the Eiffel Tower. Oops, keep misspelling it. So that's another way, and then you can kind of keep the
I think it's just a capital A.
yeah,
AE.
exactly. I thought yeah. So that's another way. So but this will be much easier in the new year. We're focused on making that, we want to start with like consistent characters. But we want to make it easier for you to get the right shots and consistency overall. You might have mentioned us say it like some of our big themes are consistency and control. And so that's going to continue into the new year as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, let us know if you have any other tips and tricks you use to get what you want out of the shot, or if you want us to like dig into that more. But let me go back to the next like dino scene. So in the project we have here, we had this science and industry thing, and we ended up getting some pretty more complicated prompts as an example. But you could just like, for example, this scene, I can just start with, actually, what kind of dinosaur is it again? Velociraptor, right? A retro styled scene with a velociraptor holding a pitchfork in the background. We have hot air rising. Air. I'll say Farm Valley. So you can type in stuff like this and get an initial prompt. I can say um, film grain and add some more like color treatments to it, for example. But often I just like type in a prompt, see where I'm at, and just keep iterating. As you can see, we like empirically can go pretty far. So like we're getting there, but I could say with rolling hills. And so you can keep just adjusting the text to like drive it to where you want to go. To be honest, as you kind of seen from the last prompts, I think the generative remove has always been amazing to me. Like, for example, if I'm using generative remove, it seems to work almost all the time. So let me put something. I'll remove it from one of these things that I create. But the generative fill doesn't work quite as well. So often I use the text to drive big changes in the project. So um, like this is standing. Oops. And then, what else do we have in here? Let me see if I can remember. Yeah, like pretty close. Oh, overalls. I can say, and wearing overalls. So, you can get there with the text, I think, a bit easier. But then also, one thing I do lean on a lot is when I generate something, you can not only do new seeds, but the generative remove has been like the worst like 5 out of 5 times. So it's been really great. And as a reminder too, you can not only do different shots, so like, establishing shot. Cool thing too is you can type in your own custom shots. I haven't played around with it too much, but we'll show a few examples of that in the project. And it's worth noting, since I remember seeing this in the other project, that you can now, if you want to change some settings, not just the title, but even the aspect ratio and things like that. This previously wasn't possible. We've been applying it so you can do it post creation. Pretty recently, that's been updated. And then again, remove objects. Maybe I only want one of these in there, so I'm going to remove this one. So the remove thing is almost like perfect. Even though that's in the prompt, maybe I wanted it out now. That's dynamite in my opinion. But then the generative add can be a little harder. So I typically use text in the prompt to get what I want in there. So we'll add a few more things here. So again, we started with this. I'll do one more just so people can see. Like this was the full prompt for that first shot. But even if we don't have everything in it, for example, like uh, this all the names of the dinosaurs and stuff might be hard to know unless you're using AI to get ideas for prompts, but you don't need to go all the way there to get it really close. So like this is a pretty cool establishing scene, and then all that was added down here was the specific type of dinosaur. We added a windmill and the pterodactyls gliding over the lake. So there's additional detail added, but sometimes I just put a quick seed prompt in. I try a few things, try a few different seeds, and then if I like it or not, like that's actually kind of got the vibe that I want. So I'm gonna leave that. And then let's just make sure. One thing I had to type often is like there are no humans in the shot when I was recreating this. So we'll add a few more. Yeah, I kept adding humans.
Important detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's one, for example, where we wanted to start talking about like the society, so not just like the classic farmland, but like the UN Assembly Hall. You can see it's pretty detailed. It talks about bird's eye view in the shot here, which sometimes I do use, but you can also do that stuff here. From above, bird's eye view. You could do overhead drone shot. You can type in custom things here now, but that'll get a similar result. Um, so we describe the structure here. You can see, and again, I can't get these things by myself often. When I want it that detailed, I'm either leaning on the built-in tools like I showed you here, like when you're creating the dino, and it auto-filled the other characters, or I, lean on other tools like a ChatGPT to give me example prompts. So let's do one more here as an example. Um,
Uh, by the way, you just revealed something that I wanted to, like a
oh,
surprise that I wanted to make with the casting.
right.
Yeah.
I quickly saw that. Go ahead.
I can do it later if you like.
Okay,
I can
cool.
do it after you finish.
Sounds good. So we're building out this. So here, for example, oops, sorry. Here, for example, you see it accidentally created humans. Looks like we have the dinos running the society hundreds of millions of years before humans were there. So often I had to add in things at the end like there are no humans in the shot. I found myself adding that quite a lot, and it often defaults to it. If you have an overall script and prompt where it's like all about the Dino Society, it happens less frequently. But when you're creating something from scratch, I don't have anything in, like we still have humans there, so maybe I'll adjust the prompt a bit. But let's see. In the location, I don't have any information here, etc. And so let me adjust. So what I would do here is go through and just see, adding a few notes here. And sometimes, honestly, if the prompt is too long, it can give it too much to work with. So sometimes I delete things. So here we're getting closer. We got more dinos here. We've got a very nice diverse society there, but I want only dinos. So sometimes, again, like I actually take things out. So it might be getting some cues from the prompt that it's like pulling people into it based on it. So I don't know, for example, I might remove this. So again, like sometimes I take things out, keep playing with it, use the motion seed, or use the different prompts. And let's see. Again, so yeah, I find myself doing this a lot just to tweak with it. But it shows you again, like kind of the craft that's required in just getting the right result. Try a mixture of the new prompts, different scene shots, etc. Just to mix it up. And then if that's not working at all, I might just try a whole new scene. So I might just say like here, for example, with dinosaur addressing a room full of other dinosaurs. So again, sometimes you might have to just start over with your shot and build it up from there. If you're not getting what you want. That's the with AI, it's often you get these happy accidents and sometimes you don't. Here we got almost all dinosaurs except for one lonely person in the middle. It's getting closer. But yeah, that's often what you have to go through. And I think it's just an iterative process to pull out the results you want.
Did I do the trick I
There we
had?
go. What do you say? Yeah, go ahead. So here we got our dinosaurs there.
Sorry.
Fine. So it took me, as you can see, like throughout the project, that's probably the one that took the longest. I didn't encounter that the first time I created. As you can see, like the actual prompt that was used was here. Oh, and I guess those have humans in it too. I didn't notice that before. Interesting. But yeah, so
You can
even
also remove them.
yeah, that's true. I could remove them with the like I could go like this and remove the objects if it's just a few. I could remove, this person. Um, I kind of like the scenery with it though, but now this person's
Maybe you
gone.
can
So,
fill his head into being a
I'll
dinosaur
try
as
that.
well.
Good idea. Okay. So let me say, let me go like this. My zoom window's in the way. Let me change this generative fill. And then I'll say this. I'll say
Dinosaur head.
dinosaur head. I like that a lot. Let's see what happens. It's gonna be a monstrosity. I know it.
Yeah, maybe you should have painted like a larger space for the dinosaur head. Oh
This is
no,
great.
that's great. I love that.
Yeah, so but anyway, so that's again like if you there were so many humans in the hall before when it was just one. Actually, let me do this since before I'm gonna go back. I guess people might not have noticed this, but there's undo buttons up here. Um, but going here, I want to undo it because I had that one where it's just the one human in the center. That's a good point, Nouveau. I can go like this and just go in and remove that one person here, and then I can
And
add in a dino there. So we got only dinosaurs here now, except for these paintings.
but I would change those paintings
Okay.
into being like dinosaur paintings
Yeah.
with generative fill. That would be awesome. But yeah, we
Uh,
don't have to do that now.
exactly.
No, because you need to work a bit on the prompt, like a
Probably.
dinosaur painting of blah blah blah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
definitely.
that wouldn't work very well. It's like, but anyways, that's just showing a bit about like the different tools at your disposal: text, generative fill, generative remove. And here, at least we got a different painting in there. Wasn't exactly dinosaur, but not a human, so that reached the purpose there. But yeah, Nouveau, here, I'll stop sharing so you can show the trick you were gonna share.
Oh, okay. So it's just like while you were making our project now, because it's both of ours, I was busy not only answering people's questions, but also I had went into cast and I wanted to show you some very cool thing. You don't have to, you can also use cast to do non-human, non-animal, or just object-based casting of things. So if I just cast a crown, it will also help me keep consistency of this crown throughout the scene. So I can also make a new shot or something, I don't know, a retro style scene with holding a pitchfork, wearing an overalls, and then maybe I can say also wearing a crown. And then I'll mention the crown and it will keep the consistency of the crown. So then we can also establish some scenes or nice shots talking about this crown being passed from one dinosaur to another. And
Love it.
here you can see the crown over here on the dinosaur's head. So you can also like it's a small trick that I love to use for non-human or non-dinosaur characters that you want to cast and keep consistency of. It's a bit less powerful because you can see it's not the exact crown that I had in the object, but if you do like a less elaborated object or something like that, it will definitely work. And I found it very surprisingly well. Yeah,
Actually, so Nouveau, while you were talking, I was reading some of the comments. I want to address a few. So, both Philip and Tyler. So, Phil, I think Nouveau, you're typing the answer, but I'll demonstrate as well while you're typing.
sure.
So, a few notes on just generating characters. One thing I wanted to call out is, we talked about like these velociraptors and different types of characters. You can do that both for your project or for general things here. Like one example is, I could say like I need diverse array of dinosaur characters for my AI movie. Can you give me some example prompts? So I showed you how to get the fill in the details in our character setting here. So for example, the cast in if I was making a dinosaur, how it fleshed out the examples, I just typed in like Velociraptor and then type in all the details under it. But if you want to just push it broadly, I've often done stuff like this. Like it can be a little ridiculous sometimes, but here's all these types of dinosaurs I didn't know existed. Like okay, T-Rex I knew, Triceratops I knew, Velociraptor. But if you notice all those weird types of like Brachiosaurus, I think I knew that one. But here's an example. You can just use that to like get different types of things. And you could also use this for like, I need a list of characters. I'll say like diverse characters for scene with some friends at brunch in New York. So I often use this for just inspiration. Again, sometimes it like the first answers might be a bit off the wall, but I find it helpful to use it to get like a bit different types of characters and ideas for things. And this is kind of going in the kind of like okay, yeah, it's giving me the description. But I might also just prompt it more generally and say like, give me some examples of what I would prompt to get their likeness and just give me a list of 10 ideas. So I'll use that a lot. But yeah, Phil, to your point about finding it difficult to keep the cast members a consistent age, um, uh, and their outfits changing. I wonder what when you've last tried this. So for example, I'll initiate a new project at the end once we're almost done with the Dino one, just to show that. But my personal take is, since releasing like Flux to do the initial image prompt like a few weeks ago, and that's definitely improved my ability to get consistent characters. So even the last few weeks, it's been much better. But we'll try it together after this. And then Tyler, real quick, you were asking about editing the duration of each slide. So, um, you know, people might have found this out. I actually played around with this a lot in the early days of LTX Studio, where if I was typing something like, let me get the actual narration here, like Planet Earth, a wonderful place to call home. Um, Up above, I don't have much video here, but that'll probably fit. But you might notice if I make too much, it'll say, hey, your scene exceeds the recommended length, and the dialogue will be cut off. And so, okay, that's good to know. But then you can go in here and take um, the length of your shots here and extend them, so that way you can get more video for your scene. So I think this is a really wonderful feature to show you like how much dialogue you could likely fit in. And if you fit in too much, it'll give you an issue. But as you can see, like it used to be more, now it's higher because I extended the length of that. And then here, if I extend the length of this one too, now it's at 180 from 140. So it increased it by like 40 characters each time. So that's one way to do the like extending the duration of each slide.
But I have to say, I do think there's a current bug with the narration. For each shot, it does get cut off, and we are fixing it.
Good to
Specifically saying,
know.
yeah, that was like a good overall view, though. But Tyler, yeah, this is an issue that we are currently experiencing, and it has brought up to the tech team.
Yeah. So going through before, because we want to show some other things while we got the hour. So I'll show a few more prompts so everyone can see the projects. So for example, let's just say that you're not getting the motion you want, like that, like now that we have these characters in it, this motion is pretty good. Actually, really like that. There's not many artifacts there. And if there are, I might make it shorter as an example. But all of these are first attempts. I haven't generated the new motion for this. You can see that because when I go into motion editor, there's no history here. Like if I scroll up or down, there's no history. But I use the same tricks as we did with the planet Earth if I want to get that right motion. Like there's a lot of issues here. Let's see. There's probably gonna be some artifacts here. Not a ton. It just looks like a happy dino, but I'm trying to find one where there's like this one has some because he's trying to the computer's trying to figure out how a dino would play this instrument. And so what I would do, like actually this motion is really pretty good, but there's a little bit of issues there. What I would do usually is I go into the motion editor here, and I just use those same tools to play around with it. So I use these camera control, keyframe, natural motion, etc. I use the action prompts, and I use that to generate new types. But just given the seed prompt, we're bound to have some issues here because the trombone is kind of coming out of this dino's mouth. So I might just regenerate the seed prompt. So I'd use a mixture of both. I'd use the motion editor to get new previews. And so here I get the 4 previews, and then you'll see the fast animated GIF. When you actually make the video, it'll be slower. But here we'll see these quick animated GIF previews. And then, so I'm using that primarily, but then often I'm just redoing the seed shot here, or using the tools to correct and fix things to remove them out of the shot, anything that's causing an issue. So these are pretty good, but maybe I like this one a little better. This one's much smoother. So I'm gonna go with this. So as you can see, we went from the glitchy, trying to play the dinosaur, or the dinosaur trying to play the trombone or whatever, to a bit more of a normal one, and it was just like a quick try there. So once you get into the animation, and you want to get the artifacts out, I'd use those tools to fix it. But you might notice in general, there's just a lot fewer artifacts with the Flux and LTXV. But here's like my planes. I guess it's moving pretty well, but not quite as well as I want. So that's again where I use these tools here. So we want to show off a few more things. Nevo, if there's anything else you want to show in the Dino project, we can. Otherwise I
Oh,
could just create a new one and show off like the
yeah, I can. Oh, I wanted to show something very specific for
Sure.
Faith's expression in the dinosaurs, even
Oh,
though
go
it's
ahead. Yeah.
not, if it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I stealing one of the things you wanted to show?
No, and to be honest, I've only played around with it a little bit, so you might have more time behind
Okay,
the wheel.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say this is a dinosaur world, but maybe there's only one man there, okay? Maybe there's just one person in this dinosaur world, and he just saw a huge dinosaur. Um, and we want to establish like a shot that the man is looking at the camera, like very shocked and surprised because he just discovered like he's the only person and he saw a dinosaur. So this is supposed to be like a very surprising moment, a very chaotic, maybe in the fields because it's also where the
Yeah.
dinosaurs are, but I'm not gonna get into more specific because I just want to show you a very small thing. So this person just saw a dinosaur and the prompt that I wrote, a man looking at the camera in the field, he doesn't look very surprised or shocked or anything to say, like to tell the story that I just tried to say, right? So if I go into face expression, this is a new feature we just released yesterday. So I'm really happy to share it with you guys. Once this person is uploaded here into the face expression bar, we have the expression, like the preset expression, and we can also upload the facial expression that we want. So we can get like different expressions here using the presetted ones. But I love this one because you can also like change the entire setting, change the
So
entire
cool.
expression, the head positioning, if it's looking to the left or to the right, because if it's rotating, anything you want to do. And then because we want it to be very shocked, then his mouth should be like wide open, um, maybe a bit more frowny. I would also um, do his lips a bit more tight. Yeah, he's scared. His eyes should be like very wide open. So I'm gonna open them up. And then also maybe he'll look to the left because he's seeing the dinosaur over there. So
That's
it's
how
the
I would
other
look if I saw
left.
a dinosaur.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, right? And then if you apply it, this is another trick that you do. You can duplicate this thing, change it. Let's say I'm gonna change. I should have done it before, but okay. Let's say now I have the like I'm gonna go to this presetting. Okay, let's say that's another facial expression. I can download this, then go into the motion editor,
Very cool.
use keyframe control, upload the shot that I just downloaded, apply it, and then I can have a generated animated facial expression that I control the start point and the end point. So I can control any facial expression and how it turns, and it gives it a lot more expressiveness, I think. We have been talking about adding I kind of like this one. It's like a very small expression, detailed one. So it gives a lot more emotion to your project. And we have been talking about including facial expressions in keyframe control. So probably that's down our roadmap. But until then, you can use this trick to create like a very well like animated facial expression. So this is like the small trick that I wanted to share.
That's great. That's great. And then yeah, Philip had asked a bit about keyframe control. That's a really good one. I actually haven't used the trick of, uploading the like second duplicated clip to do that. But then again, like keyframe control, you can use it often to add objects in, like here as an example. I'll just say like an empty basketball, ball court, 1950s era, um, uh, nostalgic. So I'm not going to try too hard. I just want to illustrate like something moving in. So for example, you might have a scene, and then you might use keyframe control to animate an object in or out. I'll say indoors. Um, I might say indoor gymnasium. but basically, if you have something, I find it to be the best way to like animating an object in and out. So motion editor, keyframe control, you might add a basketball rolling into the frame. So here, like a basketball. Um, I honestly, what I think I'd normally do is the opposite, is remove something, because I feel like the generative fill, maybe I'll do that instead, because the generative fill is not usually as good as, let me just actually do this. Say a single basketball is on the floor. So I might do it this way and then remove something, because it'll be a bit more realistic. It's easier when it's generating all together versus like plopping the item in through generative fill. One small tip. And so um, that's where I might go to the keyframe control here. In the second thing, I might or in the first one, I'll do the first one. I might remove this object here. So removing this, and not taking too much time to do it, but look, it's much more realistic here. Using the basketball in the prompt versus the generative fill, that's one thing. And then the motion here could be a basketball rolls into frame. So I know this is where you might have to try a few different ones, but if I generate the video, it's going to interpret that in a few ways, and you can use your combination of text and just the quick 4 motion previews to get the right one that you're looking for. But it's a more advanced way of prompting. It's more advanced motion for sure. But yeah, I would start by like that's bouncing into view. I wanted rolling, so I'd use a few more prompts and times to generate different ones. But for example, you can just do this here, like just generate video again. And then if you do it like once or twice and you're still not getting what you want, change the motion prompt. And so maybe I'll say, for example, bouncing into view, that might work better. It is a bit of like a co-pilot with the software, where you're kind of learning how you can best get it. Like that's almost there, but not quite. I might type slowly rolling into view. I might type bouncing, but let's try bouncing, for example. A basketball bounces into frame. I feel like bounce might be even harder, but we'll see. But yeah, that's one way I've used keyframe control. For example, I did use it once with like a bird or a insect taking off a flower, and it was much easier to generate the insect on the flower in the first shot, generate, remove it, and then do that. And so I found that easier. But yeah, play around with it. It takes a bit of it takes a few tries. And but like if you keep working, remember these are fast previews, so it's gonna be faster than the actual motion. But I've both done that, used a combination of the text and the 4 previews to just get a bunch of different ones in a row, just to get it to where you want to go. It is more challenging, to be honest, but you can definitely get there with some crafting and tweaking there. Cool. Let's see. So we went through. I'm trying to think if there's a few more things that have released since we last talked with everyone uh on the webinar. I think we went over last time. It's similar to the face expressions, but we talked through the face capture. And I think we touched on most of these things. I think. Yeah, by the way, when you use the keyframe control, it does take longer because it's, again, more like computationally expensive, but you can still navigate around while it's loading. And yeah, I think I mean, so we talked about like generating this project. We had that soundtrack here. We had the narrator added, and then at the end, there was a few things like the explosion sound. So I could say like a rumbling explosion, a low rumble maybe. That's probably a better one. Uh, a rumbling. Oops. Oh, maybe I say like a meteor. So there was a few. The only sound effects were at the end. There was that kind of meteor sound. It could work. But yeah, just play around with it. And so these are kind of more. Oh, fireball. That's what I want. Something like that, like more of a fireball. So anyways, between we use just the prompts to generate the all the imagery, and so there wasn't anything like too advanced with that. And then it just takes the craftsmanship again of like regenerating this, getting the right motion, both doing it with the seed prompts as well as the motion editor. And then we had the narration. It's funny. We had the narration and we had the sound effects at the end, but that's how we used all the above just to get that. It does take some craftsmanship, it takes when I've done things like this, it takes me like, an hour or two of just fine tuning and tweaking and, diligent work. But there's no like black magic involved. It's really just the testing and learning. And every week I'd say the artifacts get lower, the adherence to your vision gets better. And it's come a long way, but we're continuing to push on those themes of just consistency control. You can bring stuff in from the outside, like the audio I mentioned, or you can import images here as an example. And you can also use different tools like Canvas to get the adherence to what you want. And even these things like style reference per shot and per scene. So you could use a style reference here. I could just pull over something from like a sepia tone old newsreel or a dinosaur film or something. But those are all ways we've used. But for the one you saw, we actually just used simple prompting. There was nothing. It was prompting and pulling in some outside video. And it wasn't like any specific tricks with the style reference, etc. So it just shows what you can do through the basic animations in LTXV. Cool. Do we have any more questions
That's
to go through? Yeah.
While you read some of the questions, I'll just mention that, as we said, all of the recordings for these sessions are posted on YouTube, so you can catch up and get back to whatever you want or speed up things. And if any of you are not on our Discord, or if you're watching this from YouTube and are not on our Discord, then we just added a new tips and tricks channel on our Discord, where we are sharing some tips and tricks, of course, but it's also a chance for you to ask for the next tips and tricks sessions content. So if you have any questions or ideas that you get while working on LTX Studio, then definitely pop by there. We'll add I just sent the links on this chat, but if you're catching up on YouTube, you'll see it in the description below. Yeah, did you see any new questions, Corbett?
No, I just want to say, yeah, Philip, thanks for yeah, you're welcome, and thanks for the question. Same thing, Edgar. We're glad we're able to answer them. And yeah, we love getting the questions back, both because we want to show what we have, but we also want to learn what the community needs from the product, and it's very much a two-way street. So keep it coming. As Naveau said, the Discord tips and tricks is really helpful. I've learned a few things there. And we just want more folks asking questions and sharing tips. So if you have anything else, drop it in there and we'll use that to inform the next one. But yeah, it's been a pleasure showing you, just breaking apart what a project looks like behind the scenes. But if we're looking for some topics for the next one. We do hope to be sharing some new features, but it's always fun to share them in the context of work that you all are doing day to day. So just hit us up on Discord for those.
And one small one small thing as well. We started a tutorial, like a mini tutorial series on our YouTube. It's very useful and cool. It's very quick. It's like 30 to 60 seconds for each feature. It's really like fast to catch and learn. So also if you're on a YouTube, then give it a try and see some cool features. Are you just trying to show it now,
Yeah.
Corbett?
No, I just was navigating towards that. I want to point
Oh,
out
cool.
we turned them into a playlist.
Playlist, yeah.
And so yeah, we have these 6 videos. So they cover everything. For example, there's a basic one on storyboarding here. I won't play through it, but they're very well done in terms of if you want to share it with a teammate, a friend, a colleague, etc. They're very well done. And then in the playlist, there's let me move my Zoom window so I can see myself. There's a number here like creating characters, dream cast tutorials, face motion, add and replace an object, removing objects. So there'll be more coming. If you want more, we did a lot of work to understand from the community what to make these on, but we've been adding them in a playlist here and releasing them. So please check it out. And I think these playlists are really fun to share. I've actually shared this top one a lot just with people dipping their toes into LTX Studio. So check those out at our LTX Studio YouTube channel here. Well, yeah, we will see you guys all in the new year. Thanks for your time and attention. It's really fun as always sharing this with you, and we love getting the questions back. Naveau tried as much as possible, answer them in the chat. We tried answering them live. But for anything we didn't get to, just hit us up in Discord and we'll get to it there.